my life. How do I play an active role in my care?
I know when you first start on dialysis and you're diagnosed with renal failure, or maybe any disease for that matter, you have that fear, oh my gosh, I have to do exactly what this doctor says, or I'm not going to feel good, or I'm not going to do well, or somebody's not going to like me because I don't like this doctor. But what you have to realize is that you are in control of your own health care, and you have to be part of that healthcare team to make those decisions. So you need to ask questions. You need to educate yourself on what the physician is telling you. Is it things that are in line with what you believe? Does it go with your quality of life? Are you comfortable with the answers they're giving you? If not, then you certainly have options to go to another physician if you want to.
As a dialysis patient, and it's also as a nurse, my biggest thing when I talk to other, I call them friends because people in the dialysis center, other patients, is that you have a right to ask questions. And you don't have to be light or easy on your doctor. You have a right to ask him, why is my treatment like this? And you have to decide that you're control. A lot of patients ask me, what should I do? I can't decide what you should do. But as a responsible adult, it's your health. So it's important that you follow the standard regulations.
You have the right to be treated with dignity and respect when you go to if you're in center, or even if you do home hemo, you go to clinic once a month. If you do PD, you still have to go to clinic. You have the right to ask questions. You have the right to question things that they're telling you. But you also have a responsibility too, because yes, it's your right to ask questions and make sure that you're being treated properly, but you have to take care of yourself too. And it's your responsibility to show up for your treatment, to do your treatment as prescribed. If you don't do those things, people just don't realize the long-term ramifications of what can happen to them if they don't do their treatment. Even if you miss 15 minutes of a treatment every day, or even once a week, long-term, that's going to affect how long you're going to live, and it's going to affect your quality of life.
Is emotional support just as important as my treatment?
Dialysis is just not a medical problem. It also becomes an emotional type thing. There's something wrong. It's not like cancer where it's either or. It's like an ongoing chronic disease, and you really need emotional support. It was tough, and it was like the medical people were more concerned about the dialysis in your kidney than about your feelings and could I work? I'm tied to this machine 4 hours at a shot for 3 days a week. When I get done, sometimes I feel lousy. There was just no, I wish there were like other people that could have said, I've been there, I've done that, I know how you feel. But the social worker was really good. And I found out by talking to other people, I kind of became an advocate also. I talked to people and told them how I felt. And then as a nurse, I also understood that it was your care is more than just giving you medicine. Your care is more than just treating you. The care is your personal life, your feelings and your emotions. Because, it's not easy being on dialysis. And it's one of those things where you kind of say, why me? But you just don't learn to live with it. You learn to tolerate it or deal with it.
What can loved ones do to help in my care?
Early on in our relationship, and when Judy had not been on dialysis for that long a period of time, actually it was her transplant surgeon who called me into a session with her, and actually kind of just sat me down and gave me some advice as to how being her husband, and we were newlyweds at the time, how I could best be of help and assistance to her. And she encouraged me to be very proactive in her care. And I appreciated that encouragement, and I took it to heart. So, I try to absorb as much information as relates to her health care as I possibly can. And together, we believe that it is very important for us to develop a sense of trust for her caregivers and the process. Then if there are some things that we are not understanding, or we have other questions, we have no reluctancy at all of being a bit more forceful about getting that information so that we can have a good trust and comfort level.
And can I just add something too, in regards to him being my care partner? It's really good if a patient can take their care partner with them to their doctor's appointments. A care partner or a loved one or someone that has, their best interests at hand. Because my husband, as many appointments as he can, he attends with me. But even now, when he goes with me, there's stuff I might forget, or there may be surgeries that I may have forgotten, because there's so much over a 20-something year period, But being that 9 out of 10 he's been with me at the majority of my doctor's appointments, so forth and so on. If I miss something or state something that is not quite correct, I just look at him and he fills in the blank, So that's really always good if you can have that care partner or person of interest, that has your interests at hand, to go with you however much as possible. And that's one thing I really do, kind of depend on him, when I do have appointments, if he could possibly go with me, because I know he's there, sometimes he remember meds, that I perhaps don't take now, but have taken 10 years ago. I'm like, who remembers that but you?
I make myself known. I make it known how much I care about, this person. And I don't know, a doctor may not agree or may not admit it, but I think it makes them work harder if they know that there is a spouse there, not necessarily looking over their shoulder, but saying, come on, doc, give it your all. This person means a lot to me. And, that's the feeling that I've gotten from her doctors. And so I would strongly encourage husband, wife, be there. Be there as much as you can.
What kind of support is available for young adults?
There's the National Kidney Foundation, NKF, and there's a couple other groups that are just kind of general, but I actually didn't really find a whole lot specifically for young adults, and I've kind of created my own. I call it the Young Adult Kidney Beans, YAKB, and have been able to meet through the social media outlet of Facebook and just other friends of mine, and even through my blog, I've become friends with people, different states, and even all over the world. And through my blogs especially, and just meeting people every day, that I'm more of a role model to them, and I tend to mentor, other folks that are dealing with kidney disease. And I kind of just created it myself because being a young adult and dating and social life, those are much more different issues than having a spouse married to you to take care of you all the time, or even children. So I found that if it's not there, why not create it?
What caused your kidneys to fail?
Well, I pondered that in many ways. I think the doctor told me it was hypertension or hyperactivity. So I assume it's really from teaching 7th and 8th grade for 30 years. They probably didn't help any, but probably a lot of it's my own fault.
How will dialysis affect my family?
Dialysis greatly affected my family because at the time I was 35 years old and I had 3 young children. So they were concerned about my health and what was going to happen to me. So it was scary for me, and it was also scary for my family. And you have to let your children know that things are going to be all right, and that you're going to do everything that you can to get better. And you also have to let them help you in any way that they can, so that they can feel a part of, your care.
How will dialysis affect my social life?
Social life, like I said, I go to concerts. I try to live a normal life as much as possible. And dating, well, that can be challenging because it's a lot to take in just to comprehend what's going on. But then since I have low energy at times and I don't feel like doing things, I don't want to see that gentleman, that they have to be supportive and understanding a lot more emotionally and mentally than physically. So it can have its challenges.
Is the internet a good place to learn about my disease?
I think the internet is really good with the butt. But there's a lot of junk on there about kidney disease and stuff you can take to. So I always tell people, if you're going to use things that are on the internet, it should be backed up from a reputable source. There's some things that are just crazy. But I did learn a lot about different techniques. Like I have a buttonhole on my fistula. I learned about that from the internet. No one in any of the treatment centers told me about it. A buttonhole simply is a place you cannulate yourself, same hole every time, as compared to sticking yourself all up and down your arm. I looked on YouTube under buttonhole, and they showed this guy doing it, and I went. So I went to the doctor and said, "Is this a thing we can do?" "Oh yeah, you can do this." There's other things, it's called peer review articles. The peer review articles are articles that are medical people from reputable universities that get information together, and those are good. Sometimes they're kind of technical, but at least you can rely that those have been tried and true tested information.